Hi, this is Mary Knight, and I announced ahead I'm doing a live now. No one has come on yet, but I hope to see people soon. I got an email today from someone who had recently seen my film, so I'm going to let her know that I'm live right now. Checking my email, but checking back. Oh, there's two people here. Hello, glad you're here. If you would be willing to, could you write in where you're from and also any question you want answered? I'm, yeah, I'm trying to find an email I got just this morning. I was hoping that person could come. I just hadn't had time to return the email yet. But yeah, I'm excited to get to talk to you and answer any questions you have. I'm having a good day today. I kind of like the winter. Um, Rains a lot where I'm at. I'm in Bellingham, Washington. Okay. I just wrote to someone, I'm having a YouTube live right now. Please join. Now, hi from California. Thank you. Good. And do you have so I know kind of what to talk about. Can you tell me what you're interested in knowing? Like, do you want me to tell about one of the films I made or? Okay, I have 4 people here, and presumably you wanna know something about something I've done because you've seen me on YouTube, obviously, and I will say, let's see. I will say I'm really glad I have spoken out. I don't think it's for everyone. I'm not saying that everyone should speak out, but for me, I chose the right time to do it, and it's been a good experience. Maria says she is still trying to get her computer figured out. I know Maria just got a new laptop and she's here. Okay. Maria joined me last time and she's a pandemic friend and I'm going to go see her in New York City next month. So I'm going to do a live from there and then she can be on screen with me. But she wrote the book. Maria, could you put the title of your book in the chat? She wrote a book about her healing and she and I are both survivors of incest. And of course, I'm a survivor of other types of child abuse as well. But we, so, so she had a one-time experience that was not physically painful. And I was like the opposite. My experience included torture and just extreme pain. But we responded in a similar way by having recovered memories. And so I didn't remember until I was 37. Maria was even older than that. And then we have some similarities in the ways we've healed. So Maria talks about her healing in the book Unlocking the Mystery of My Chronic Pain. There's more to the title. I know that's not the full title. And the invisible key, unlocking the mystery of my chronic pain. And so that book is on the very first of that book is on my YouTube. And you can listen to the audio free. And Maria also is giving away 5 audio copies of the book. One has been spoken for already. So if you want to listen to that, and then if you even wanted to copy the whole book, you could do that. Okay, so someone is asking how they can contact me by email, and it's maryknighthappy@yahoo.com. I'll write that in chat. Okay. maryknighthappy@yahoo.com. Other questions, because I actually just answered the one. I would like to know how I can contact you. We have 3 people, so there's one person in addition to the individual from California, or maybe I'm counted. Maybe it's just the 3 of us. Okay. Let's see. I think, one thing I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of speaking out. It's just something that's on my mind right now because almost everything about me speaking out as a child abuse survivor has been good. But there's been some things. I'm in a professional group, collaborative divorce law, and I have my book. Someone read the book, but I'm like, do you have comments? Oh, well, it's just your abuse was really bad. But I'm not sure I'm being treated the same professionally as I was before she read it. I just don't know. And that is a hard thing for someone to know so much about you and and to just not know where they're coming from or how that's affecting the relationship. Um, and so that would be a negative side. The positive so outweighs that. I mean, I got a email today from someone who says, I watched your story on YouTube last night. Thanks for sharing, for being so brave and candid. I'm looking forward to reading your book. So, I mean, and then she tells about herself and some things about herself. And so I get emails like that, comments like that often. And my slight, discomfort that I just told you about is minor compared to what the benefits are. Although sometimes it doesn't seem minor. Okay. Thank you for telling your story. Thanks. Okay. And if you have, this is a time to ask some questions because I can tell you things verbally. And if you email me, which it sounds like you want to email me, there's a limit to how much there's a limit to to what I put into an email. I have mild arthritis in my hands, and so I'm careful how much I'm in front of a computer. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. I think it's just us. So yeah. Maria says, speaking out has been mostly positive. I've had more than one person tell me my book saved their life. So, right, it's all worth it. Yes, it is. There's 5, 4. Okay. There's 5 of us, 4 of us. So there's some new people, and I'm just encouraging to ask questions because that's what I like to do here is answer any questions you have. And at this point, I don't know whether you want me to tell more about one of my films or more about something in my book or just general about me. I can ask. I mean, one question is, do you want me to tell you more about how I healed? And so I'm going to say a little about that, and then, but if you ask a question, I'll go to it instead. Um, so my healing, one thing I always recommend to people with healing is it's a part-time job and treat it as such. The the check really is in the mail, and you will benefit from the healing work you're doing. Um, okay, the person from California, I've been having negative feedback from my recalled memories. Yes, off topic, but I like your plant in the background. Oh, thank you. I was doing a video for someone else, and she wanted to make sure there was furniture in the background. So that is my response to that request. Thanks for noticing. Okay, negative feedback about recovered memory. And I'll go back to something I was saying about me and Maria is that people don't believe me because my memories are so bizarre. People don't believe there's people who don't believe Maria has recovered memories because it was a one-time thing. It was something that happened to her once, and it caused this chronic pain to the point of being on disability. And so it seems like it was too minor and it shouldn't have done all that. So no matter what, I'm just saying that to say, don't take it personal. No matter what you have remembered, there are people who will criticize you. And there are people that just don't understand traumatic memory. Everyone knows we don't remember everything that's happened in our life at all times. There'll be something that will bring something back to your attention. Everyone's had that happen to them. And then there's actually, some people don't know there's an organization called the False Memory Syndrome Foundation. It has closed in the United States in 2019 it closed, but in Britain it's still active, very active, and they are made up of primarily pedophiles, people who have been accused by their adult children of child abuse. They have a huge bias, a huge investment in convincing people that memories like mine, like Maria's, and possibly like some of yours who are listening, are not true. But there's no actual there's no actual good scientific research that says that recovered memory is not true. And we're learning more and more about the brain. The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk has been on the Science New York Times bestseller list ever since it came out. It's a good book to read related to it. My film goes into recovered memory because Am I Crazy? My journey to determine if my memories are true, which I have listed under ritual. I think the first part of the title on my YouTube channel is ritual abuse, I do talk about ritual abuse in it. But I interviewed people who say memories like mine don't exist, and I will say they didn't come across very good on camera. They signed releases so I can put out information about them, but uh, so I could do my film, and it's there for you to see. Um, Lil Alex says, "The brain is so complex and large, it could take hundreds of years before we find everything about it." Yeah, yeah, there's lots we don't know about the inner workings of the brain. How do you deal with feelings of invalidation for what you went through? Oh, that's a good question. That's a very personal, and, if people want to comment in chat, that'd be great how they deal with it also. Um, I would say I'm a real spiritual person, and, I ultimately had to decide to just listen to that still voice, or that, or God. I use the term God speaking to me, but I mean, that's how I know what I've remembered is true. Um, there's and I mean, that's the strongest validation you can get, and it's the hardest to listen to. I mean, we know deep inside ourselves what happened to us, and we just need to we live in a culture that doesn't respect that type of knowledge, and we just have to, find within ourselves and within the people closest to us ways to affirm what we already know. That's Bessel van der Kolk says that counseling is to help you, um, realize what you already know, or accept what you already know about yourself. I mean, it's you it, um, there's ways to build your self-confidence, and one is to be around people who are supportive, and to listen more to the support than you listen to the other comments. I've gotten better with that. I used to, if one person out of 20 said something negative, I'd listen to the person who said something negative about me, and it's gotten different for me. But that's a practice. That's something you have to consciously do, because it's it's especially if you were abused as a child, it's very common to be very insecure and to look to other people for, affirmation. So you have to you have to heal enough that you can listen to yourself. Um, okay. Regarding invalidation, Maria says, "I just keep reading things that validate what my brain has done and talk to people with similar experience." Good. Okay. And hi, Lena from Germany. Oh, glad you're here. Maria says, "I'm also lucky that my perpetrator confirmed my memories." I mean, that's one thing. Maria gets criticized like her memories aren't true. I've seen someone on social media post something about that. And the odd thing is, I mean, her perpetrator admitted it and apologized, or recognized the harm he had done. So I that's I mean, how could something be more validating than that, except, and yet people still try to invalidate what happened. Lena, what always helps me is acknowledging my body's symptoms because they are real. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, and I've had that experience, that I've had a symptom that once I fully recall the memory, it goes away. I used to have a symptom of a gun being pointed right there, and my body was just kind of forcing me to acknowledge something, and now that I have, I mean, used to be anytime I got a massage that included that area, that the pain would come up, and now it doesn't. So that's a nice benefit of it. When you have dreams, do you try to analyze them to see what meanings they have to you? Dreams have a lot of symbolism, and they can be quite fascinating to help me understand my life better. Well, that's a good point. I'm glad that works well for you. For me personally, I sometimes I do. Sometimes I think about my dreams, and one thing that really helps, um, wh- um, and one thing that really helps me. Oh, and Maria has looked into her dreams and is starting to has is writing an additional book that tells more about her dreams. Um, for me, I pay attention to my dreams. How I started paying more attention was I started, doing stream of consciousness journaling every morning before my feet hit the floor, 15 minutes of journaling, and, I I did it as a part of a creativity class I was taking, but what happened is I started remembering my dreams, and I would write them down, and it helped me have more confidence in myself because one day I was doing, I was bringing pizza to my son's grade school class, and, um, and that was the next week, and it wasn't unusual that would be in my dream, but the other part of the dream is that, we, it was really late. I got the pizza there really late, which you could say too, well, maybe it was my mind telling me to do that. But no, in fact, the pizza was really late because there was only one pizza place in town, and like 3 of the 4 employees called in sick that day, and everyone's pizza was late. And it was just like, wow, I had this dream and then it happened, and it couldn't be explained otherwise, and it helped me to have more confidence in my dreams and in my unconscious self. But then I also had a dream that I kissed Elvis. Well, I didn't really kiss Elvis, so, I mean, I don't I don't say that all dreams in my opinion, for myself, not all my dreams seem to be telling me something, but some do. Um And yeah, I've had just restless nights where last night was restless night where I just knew, I need to talk to that person or try to talk to that person who's communicating with me differently since she's read my book. And I did. I went ahead and sent her an email this morning and gave her the option we could talk, um, but not by email because that wasn't working well. Um, okay, from Canada, cool. My dreams have been huge for me. Yeah, Maria's dreams a huge part of her healing. She talks about it some in the book, and for those of you who have gotten on more recently, Maria is willing to give out 5 copies of the audio version of her book free. So email me, and then I'll get you in touch with her to if you want to see that. Listen to the very first of it on my YouTube channel. It's one of my newest videos, so you can look under videos and then look in the newest, and then you'll see it. Audio book of Maria Sokoloff's um, book, audio, the very first of the audio book I have on as a video on my YouTube channel. And if you like it, you might want to get the whole book from her. The abuser that I'm dealing with is still trying to have me killed so that no one will ever find out. Yeah, I've been afraid of being killed. Uh, and the thing that helped me when I was going through that really scary process, it was right when I remembered my abuse. And one thing that helped me, and this is one reason I try to help other survivors, is that I had cousins with similar memories of the extensive child abuse and, child sex ring is what I would call it, criminal child sex ring. And they hadn't been killed, and they had remembered things before I did, and they were still alive. And I thought about that. The other thing I think about, because I think there are people who would want me to be dead, is they're just too afraid of getting caught. So I don't think it's gonna happen. But the other thing I did is I wrote down one thing I wrote, and I gave it to several friends is, "If I die and the reason is said to be suicide, don't believe it. Get police investigation done. I'm never gonna commit suicide." And I could say that with quite confidence. I knew I that's never going to be something I do, and I can see how a suicide could be, how a murder could be covered up as a suicide. So, I made it clear, that, and that any money I have, I would want used for a police investigation. I no longer have that. I no longer have that in my will, but some of my money, and I'm really blessed that I have some money that could be used in this way. But um, I recently changed my will to where I have a young woman who's quite a bit younger than me. Catherine's in her early 30s, and she is a filmmaker, and she knows about my YouTube channel, and she is going to inherit my intellectual property when I die. I have that set in my will. Um, and and I've talked to the other people inheriting, and I know there won't be any. I know that's what's gonna happen. She'll inherit my book, the proceeds of it and all that, but also she'll put something on YouTube so people will know, if I die and how I died, and maybe even a part of my memorial service. But, um, she also knows, if there's any suspicious circumstances, she will, um, use the money I'm leaving with her to do that. And she just asked that recently. So that was a recent thing for me. I said, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen. But, yeah, yeah, I want you to see that it's investigated. Um, okay, let's see. Um, and so what I'm saying to the person in California is I'm doing my best to make sure someone will be found out if it does happen. And, there's a part of me that goes, wow, if my death would stop this child sex ring, which I think is still going on, then, yeah, I just would want it to be found out. I mean, I think that I feel like I'm getting too morbid and too serious, but I will make one more comment. I feel like this is what I was put on earth to do, to stop this abuse, and I'm using my life now to do that, and there's some things worth dying for. So, yeah, that maybe didn't help you in the way you wanted help, but I would say just let a lot of people know, be as public as you feel comfortable, or at least, or maybe just be private, but just with a few people that would care about you and would care about child safety. Um, okay. Oh, someone else was saying the Me Too. I don't know if Me Too is related to being afraid you will be killed. Um, oh, it is so horrific that abusers play with death threats. Yes. Okay. Yes. So I'm not the only one. I mean, the death threats are part of with the extreme abuse. And when you've seen someone, I've witnessed murder. So when you've seen that, it doesn't feel like an empty threat. Yeah. Okay. Have any of your abusers been punished? Well, depending on your concept of afterlife, um, some of them are dead. I That was the first thing that came to mind. Um, I do have a concept of afterlife, which is the last essay in my book. It's about my angel connection with my mother, who was one of my abusers, and it talks about what I think may happen after death, which is a kind of a nurturing type of purgatory for people like my mother. But anyway, no, none of mine have criminally. None of my abusers have been arrested. And I will say, Maria's situation, which she is public about, which she's written about in her book, the perpetrator was someone not much older than her. The perpetrator was a child, and it was sibling incest. And I would see no need for him to be punished. He's sorry for what he did. And they unfortunately neither of them realized that they could have gotten the support and nurturing they needed from their parents at the time, and education. And so there wasn't a perpetrator in the sense of there being someone who should have been punished. And it's my understanding from everything I've talked to Maria about is that she just said, and he didn't go on to abuse. And that's, I personally would feel totally safe around Maria's brother, and would not make special accommodations for children in my care if I were around Maria's brother. I feel that strongly that he is not of danger to anyone. So different situations are different. But no one was arrested. And that's one thing I do. I'm Christian, my husband's Jewish, and our synagogue is looks like it is going to put into effect a new policy about child safety that includes that anyone who is alone with children not only has the criminal background check done, but also signs something saying they, if an allegation is made against them, and it can't be turned into the police because it's past statute of limitations, or it's recovered memories, or the other reasons that the police won't work on it, then they will cooperate with the investigation. I'm really pleased about that. But part of the reason for that is so few abusers are ever apprehended. I've heard like 2% of child abusers are ever apprehended. I have heard a percentage that 10% of child abusers are ever apprehended, but I don't think it's that high. I think it's somewhere between 1% and 5% of child abusers are ever apprehended. I know my grandfather, my parents, they continued to do it until their death and never apprehended. So because of that, criminal background checks, they're only as useful as police investigations have been, and we know 3%, that's not very effective. I'm reading Lil Alex. I am blessed enough to not have anything bad happen in my life, but listening to these live streams are really nice to listen to. Another question is, I have where I live in Canada has the highest human trafficking rates. Where I live in Canada has the highest human trafficking rates in the entire country. So despite having nothing bad happen to me, whenever I walk somewhere, I have this looming fear something could happen. Okay, so I need to do a little education about human trafficking. Oh, it is terrible they get away with it. I agree with you, Eileen. Regarding human trafficking, some people are really afraid of being kidnapped and then trafficked, and, that happens very, very rarely, but that happens. I personally know someone who well, usually there's some grooming first. Usually there's some type of seduction first. Like I know someone, really intelligent woman. I have so much respect for her, but when she lived in an Asian country, she's from an Asian country, Indonesia, I believe, and which is not a very, which is yeah, a country without many resources, and she got a offer to come to the United States and work in the restaurant industry. And the offer sounded really good, and they were going to teach her, she would learn English. She was really already good in the food service area, so it made sense that they would offer her that. She came into the country, and as soon as she got here, they held a gun on her and said, "Give me your passport." And she was kidnapped at that point. Um, and so, yeah, there's situations like that, but I mean, you have to look at how vulnerable you are, but just walking down the street, how vulnerable are you? One thing is I don't really believe that they know which part of Canada has the most human trafficking going on, because so much of it's hidden. Like, none of the human trafficking I experienced was law enforcement doesn't know about any of it, because it's past statute of limitations. They won't listen to it. So it's on no statistics. About half of human trafficking survivors it's familial sex trafficking, and so that's a relative who traffics you, and that is an extremely underreported group. And um, so yeah, I think reading listening to the news can sometimes be unduly terrifying. And so taking precautions. So if you walk down the street, you feel, you have, I mean, like I still walk at night. I'm not saying other people should. I feel like I live in a safe place, and I love to go see the Christmas lights this time of year. But my husband likes me to carry mace if I'm going to do that. I carry my cell phone. I have it very handy. When I do that, I wear white, which is not related to human trafficking, but helps you not to be run over at night. I'm glad I'm talking about this because I'm like, I think tonight I'm going to go see those Christmas lights. I love to walk and see Christmas lights in my neighborhood and around here. Um, so anyway, do what you need to be safe. Don't be overly vulnerable to someone, but really, even so, even if it's not familial sex trafficking, the second most common type is the Romeo pimp um, who comes to you as a boyfriend and then later traffics you. So you have to be why. I mean, d- if you date someone, get his information, get her information, and make it available to the people around you. Um, mm, and, don't be vulnerable in that way either. Although the emotional vulnerability um, is the worst, and there more on grooming. One thing I really like that I watched on grooming is the Leaving Neverland, the Michael Jackson accusers. It talked about how w- with child uh, how with child seduction, um, the parents were also seduced, and I thought it really gave good insights in grooming that could be used for um, any age person. It just being wise about the grooming process. helps you to be safe and helps you to keep your children safe. Most kids are sold by parents. Yes, I agree. Um, yeah. Yeah, really sad that happens so much. I feel like I'm being a real downer, and I feel like I need to say something, happier now. So I am, but if you have other questions, I'll go to those questions. Um, I like to talk about healing, and I also like to talk about the fact that I have really a good life now. I got to see my grandson's middle school band concert last night, and it was so fun. It was just like, wow, I'm getting to do this really fun thing. And they are in sixth grade, so they're not, that wasn't the music was so terrific, but it was just so nice to be there and to see young children. Doing something they like to do and the teacher being just so wonderful. So, be sure and spend time to where you have time with the good things in life. Another thing I've been doing lately is reading novels. And I just love that. In my book, I talk, the longest essay in my book is how I healed. And if you can't afford to buy the book and you want a PDF copy, email me and I will send you a PDF copy. I'll put my email in again, although I know it's quite available on my website. I mean, on YouTube. But yeah, email me, and if you can't afford, if you've read my book, I love to hear how you liked it. And if you email me, but if you can't afford to purchase it, email me and I'll send it to you. Wonder if my message went through, maybe YouTube hit it. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone know Ella's message? Can you put it again? Oh, uh, I will check my email, and if someone doesn't feel like it's come through, I'm just checking my email now, and I oh. Yeah, I don't see anything in my email, but I'll check it again in case that's a better way to communicate with me. Um, we don't want YouTube hiding something. Okay. More things about healing. Yes, I'm reading really a good book. I really like it. It's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I mean, it's just a for fun book. And I like it. And then the book I read right before that, it was a comment in the chat. Okay, did someone else see Ella's comment in this chat? Because no, I'm not. I'm going up the chat and not seeing it. I believe you. It's a comment in the chat, but I don't see it. Uh, if anyone else does, let me know. But I don't see it. You can email me, and I'll check my email again. More things about healing. I love EFT. EFT, remind me, EFT. What does that stand for? Anyone can write that in, EFT. Tapping. Oh, yeah, the tapping therapy. Yeah. Yeah. Tapping therapy never helped me, but other things do. Emotional freedom technique. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard, people have really liked that. And it, it I asked how to deal with feelings from being unlovable from trauma. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't want to ignore that, Ella. So, feeling unlovable. One thing I did that helped me was used to, I mean, and it's I used to listen to the Mariah Carey song, um, about the hero within me. If someone knows the title of that, you can write it in, but, um, Hero, I think maybe is the name of the song, but I would listen to it. I didn't have something that would do, continuous rewind. So I'd have to get up at the end of it and press my CD player. But and I got a doll. Getting dolls was helpful to me with the lovable part. And I would, yeah, Hero, Mariah Carey, okay. And I got a baby doll, and then I had some, I bought baby clothes for her because she was big enough that she could wear, preemie sized baby clothes and a baby blanket, and I would hold her, and it would be like I was holding myself, and I would just sit on my bed and relaxing back and hold her. No, don't know, maybe I laid down or maybe I sat up, and I would do that again and again, and, that helped. That helped me. It felt like I was nurturing my infant self, and my abuse did go back, um, to my earliest memory. So, yeah, that's one thing I did. If other people wanna put things in the chat, I would, therapy, I don't think I could have gotten to where I could beat that unlovable feeling without therapy. I do remember my therapist talking about how, because I was like, I didn't feel loved by my parents, and how she's like, "We need to get you to a point where you know you're lovable." Um, my parents never ever came through for me, but now I parent myself. I'm my own mother, and I'm good to myself, and I'm feeling more and more lovable because of it. I mean, it's really your parents' job to make you feel lovable, and if that doesn't work, you need to find someone else who can, in essence, parent you, which a psychotherapist, if you can afford one, a friendship, some online support group. Al-Anon is a group I often recommend. Al-Anon, a free support group, and you can look it up on the internet. Al-Anon. It's with the it's uh, it's for partners of people who would be in Alcoholics Anonymous. That's how it's thought of, but really, it's for anyone who knows someone who's been affected by dysfunction in a family, dysfunction related to alcohol or other dysfunction. And I think you'd be able to find someone nurturing in that group, because you need to be nurtured, so you can feel lovable. That's bottom line. You need to be nurtured, and maybe you can find them in other places. Some people at church, some people at in personal life or whatever. But you need to be nurtured. Most survivors of abuse are very nurturing, but we need help with accepting nurture from other places. So, having music that you listen to, that you think of it as just singing to you. Also doing things, thinking about what the younger part of yourself, or what you as a child would have liked to have had right now. And that's looking at the Christmas lights, walking around looking at the Christmas lights. I was raised in a cultish, strict, um, conservative Christian church, and my parents didn't let me celebrate Christmas because they said it was a pagan holiday. And so I love Christmas lights. I mean, and that's it. Kind of is good for me that I wasn't allowed to celebrate Christmas, because now there's no part of Christmas that reminds me of my child abuse, and I like that. Thank you for the thumbs up. I tried to give myself a thumbs up, but I guess I can't do that while I'm on. Um, and thanks for being here. And there's 13 people. That's really quite a few for a live. People come and go during lives all the time. Other questions? This is helping. Oh, good. I don't know how to nurture myself. Yeah. I get a coloring book. That was one thing I did was a coloring book, and I would just sit and color. That helped me. I'm giving myself 30 minutes and set a timer for 30 minutes and letting you do whatever the younger part of yourself would want to do. And it could be just scream. Usually I would do that in the car so, it doesn't alarm people around me, but driving in the car screaming. But, getting your anger out, getting your can be nurturing. So it's not always just sitting and being in a cuddly space. But it can be that sitting and being in a cuddly space. Find a place in your home where you feel safe and where you can be alone and safe. And if you can't find a place in your home for that, you might need to look for services for domestic violence or whatever, because everyone deserves to have a place in their home where they feel safe, but and can be alone. And But anyway, that's needed in order to be nurturing. You need a space for it. But then I would cut out paper dolls. I'd get these designer paper dolls, and for some reason, they really appealed to the little girl in me. And I would just sit and cut them out. It was really helpful. And then I'd put them on the paper doll, and yeah, I found it really relaxing just to cut out paper dolls. Phone screen broken. Okay. Okay, Ella's trying to say something, but the phone screen is broken. So, yeah, uh, I will check email in a minute if that's a helpful way to approach me. It's okay. I'm totally safe now. I can easily find somewhere. Okay, so you find a place in your house where you're safe, and then the thing to do is do something fun. Do something you just like. I have on my email, on my YouTube, okay for kids to watch, and I have different crafts. So that might give you ideas too. And I'm going to read out loud. Maria wrote, well, it was to a specific person. Oh, she gave ideas that myofascial release could be helpful. No talking is needed, and it makes use of your body wisdom. Sometimes my trauma shouldn't be bad enough to affect it so much as I feel guilty. Yeah, we live in a society where that makes you feel guilty for having needs, and there's nothing wrong with having needs, and there's no way to um, you can't compare trauma. It's like comparing how much you like to eat ice cream. It's something internal that you can't compare with another person. So, yeah, I I don't like I want to empower each of you to validate your own trauma because it's yeah, whatever it is. Um, is it necessary to seek help later in life if it is accessible? I think so. Yeah, I could not have gotten well without psychotherapy. And I am a psychotherapist. I'm seeing clients later today. So I do believe in psychotherapy. I don't think all psychotherapists are good. So you need to work to find someone, and it's really hard to find someone if you don't have much money. I'm trying to help someone who I got a referral, and I thought the person was on Aetna insurance, and it ended up that the name of our Medicaid insurance in Washington State has a similar name to that, and so that may have been the confusion. But anyway, I'm trying to find services for a little 5-year-old. So I'm because I don't accept the insurance. I thought about taking the case anyway, but I um, I decided to take care of myself by only accepting cases that where I receive payment, at least initially. I I have cases where if someone loses their insurance, and I continue to see them for a lower fee. But anyway, yeah, as you can tell, I'm kind of feeling guilty. This child needs therapy, and I'm finding out that the services are quite limited where I am for a 5-year-old who's on Medicaid and needs therapy. But I'm optimistic. I'm pushing through, and I think I may find someone for her. Okay, let's see. EMDR. Oh, I want to talk about EMDR. So Maria was saying EMDR was more effective for her than the tapping, and that's the same with me. Yeah, EMDR, somatic experiencing. I just looked into last night. I was looking into EMDR training because now that I'm back to doing psychotherapy, um, how I do it now, I've had 2 clients who could benefit from EMDR, and I found an EMDR therapist that they can go to, for like 3 to 5 times, work on something, and then come back to me, or can go to both of us at the same time. I mean, I found another therapist I can work easily with, but I'm thinking about getting the training myself, and I'm trying to decide whether to take the time and money to do that. Um, so I'm still trying to decide. I think I could do it well, and I've benefited from receiving EMDR so much. EMDR is eye movement desensitization therapy. I'm not sure I have all the words on it right, but you can look it up just under EMDR, and I think it's a great therapy technique. I find sometimes if I go to someone who's for EMDR or that does EMDR, they go to it too quickly. Like, I want to keep talking. Talk therapy really helps me too. So, do you think people can do EMDR at home? I think, Ella, I really hope you find a good. Yeah, I've tried to watch YouTube tutorials. No, I really don't think so. Even some of the EMDR, um, even a couple of the EMDR therapists I've been to, um, didn't do it that well. I mean, so you need a good therapist. I hope, I hope there's some kind of, I hope there's some sort of therapy that you can get that's available to you. If you don't want to leave your home, if leaving home is the problem, it can be done over the internet. I didn't find it as effective with the person. I've just done that once, but I still found it effective. What I think is a crucial part of the EMDR for me personally is that I have someone to process the memories with when they arise. And if you're alone doing it, you don't have that. I think that's just really important for me. And I know that there have been times that a memory will arise right before a therapy session. I did that. Yeah, she did EMDR, but she also and also talk therapy, but I noticed that it was like right before the session, and it was my body's way of saying, "You need someone with you as you process this." But we just need each other. We just need people, and no, I don't think I do not recommend EMDR on your own. Yeah. I Yeah, Maria's saying same for me. Maria's email is on my YouTube channel also, so she has given out her email. And uh but and also, I mean, just yeah, I strongly recommend her book. I strongly recommend my book. And then my other films might be helpful to you, especially about recovered memories. The fact that I've interviewed the founder of the False Memory Syndrome Foundation. And mm, yeah, I'm glad I have that interview. I'm glad that was a hard one to do. I'm glad I never have to do something like that again. We are at an hour, so we are about at time, but I'll stay on 5 more minutes, and I will take questions during that time. I'm gonna check my email once more in case someone's emailed. No new email messages. Thank you for coming. If you don't have more questions, then I am gonna end now and just say, do something fun for yourself today. Think of something. Actually, that's a good way to end. If you could think of something fun you're going to do and put it into chat, then we get ideas from each other. Oh, pickleball. Pickleball is Maria's fun thing to do. I've never tried that so far. Okay, have fun playing pickleball. Decorate for Christmas. Oh, great, Eileen. Oh, yeah. Um, Pickleball wasn't something that Maria could do until she had had a lot of healing work because of physical limitations. Ooh, have to study for 2 tests. Could use fun things right now. Well, thanks for joining us in the midst of your studying. And maybe your name's supposed to be Lil Alex. Anyway, I'll just call you Alex because that's the only thing I know for sure. And yeah. Oh, Ella, I'm glad you read my books and seen the documentaries. And I hope you do find a way to get more personal help for yourself, if possible. But glad you read the book, and so you have my ideas from that lengthy essay. Glad you were here, all of you. Ella, Eileen, um, Alex, Maria, Detective. Yeah, please do more live chats. I will try to. I definitely am going to do one in mid-January when I go to see Maria. But yeah, I'll try to. I know I get busy and I don't do them as much as I have meant to. Oh, it's your first live with me, Alex. Well, glad you were here. And I'm not used to doing fun things. Now that is common for survivors to not be used to doing fun things. Oh, sat here racking my brain. Well, yeah, I have a lot of things, and I've got those fun videos on my YouTube, the Made for Children, one about a couple about craft ideas, or yeah, something artistic, um, taking a walk, taking a warm bath, anything that would be comforting and appealing to you. So, yeah, hope you find something. Um, yeah. Well, this is great, and I'm going to end now. And thanks again for coming. It was great to be together. Bye.